Welcome to Fuel Disclosure, a Moffitt Services podcast. On this show, you will learn how Moffitt Services is pioneering the fuel delivery industry. From fuels and lubricant product news, to stories from the community, to recent industry trends with subject matter experts. Make sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss a moment from Moffitt. To learn even more about the Moffitt Services difference, visit moffittservices.com. Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Fuel Disclosure. Today, we're welcoming back a guest who's been on here before, Mr. Fred Whitfield. Fred, welcome back. How are you? How's it going?
I'm great, Landry. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really good, actually. I'm excited about 2024. I'm excited about this new season on the show. What's been up with you?
Well, had a little time off in December and had to come back to work in January, and been working on some really big accounts this month and happened to land a few of them. So everything's good as far as work goes.
Things are looking up. That's great.
Things are really looking up.
Well, last time you were on the episode, we kind of talked a little bit about your story and your history. Like, if you didn't know already, Fred is an 8-time world champion calf roper, and we love to feature Fred whenever we can because he's awesome, number one, and number two, he's famous. But now I thought we could kind of do another version of this where I just ask you a bunch of questions, some related to your history in the rodeo scene, and then some just related to sales now. So are you good with that?
Yes, ma'am. Let's do it.
Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to start first with questions about the rodeo. So these are kind of all pertain to that. What do you miss most about competitive roping?
Well, the thing that I miss the most about competitive roping is all the friendships that I made over the years. Once I crossed into the business world and pretty much left the rodeo world, but I'm still involved just a little bit. Kid Rock is having a rodeo this summer in May, and so I'm one of the coaches of a team, so I'm fixing to have to brush all the stuff off and kind of get back in the scene. We're having a draft. It's sometime in March, I believe, is when the unveiling of the draft is. So I'll draft some actually rodeo competitors of today, and we'll all get together at Cowboy Stadium, and I think it's May 17th, and so I'm going to actually be coaching the teams. So.
What? How cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, it's just, and we haven't talked a lot about it. It's been on some of my socials, but we're in the process of getting everything set right now, the rules, all that stuff. And so.
How amazing.
Outside of my sales job, I've got another little job I'm working in on kind of on the side.
Wow, how cool. And can anybody come to this? Is it open to the public?
Oh, yes, it's open to the public. Tickets are on sale online right now at kidrockrodeo.com.
Wow. Have you met Kid Rock before?
Oh, yeah. Got to hang out with him out in Vegas when I was out there in December. We had the unveiling of this new rodeo concept, and had a little party one night at the Mandalay Bay, and I got to hang out with him a little bit. He's pretty cool.
Nice. I love that. That's so cool. Well, we'll have to link the ticket website to this episode so to encourage people to come. That's awesome.
Most definitely.
For sure. Okay, now on to our next question. How has retirement changed your perspective on the sport?
For the most part, it's grown a lot. It's on the Cowboy Channel almost freaking daily,
Yeah.
We talked to them actually about doing a little sponsorship on getting some commercials, but haven't got anything nailed down yet. It's kind of rolled over to a new group of guys. And so most of the guys that rodeoed when I rodeoed in my prime are pretty much done. So there's a new generation of contestants coming in, and a lot of them are the sons and daughters of people that I rodeoed with. And so
nice.
My girls aren't actually involved, but they were around a lot of those kids. And so it's nice to see some of your really good friends' kids doing well at a professional level.
Yeah, that's amazing. And do you think that the traffic and the popularity of the sport has changed from when you were in the scene to now?
Yes, most definitely. And reason being, they're on TV all the time, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but there's a lot of kids that believe that they're rock stars nowadays that rodeo, and there's quite a few that are. It just comes with the territory. Mm-hmm. And now that I go back and look at a lot of my pictures, it looks kind of outdated because the jeans have changed, the hats have changed. You know, they're a lot more flamboyant than what we were because we were more laid back.
Yeah. And now there's like a uniform,
Yes.
a certain way to look.
Yes.
Okay.
It was when I rodeoed, but it was more laid back and more old school, so to speak.
And were you featured on TV back in your days, or is that something kind of new?
We had a couple of different TV deals.
Okay.
And the main one for the NFR, I think, was ESPN. And like I said, now, you know, the Cowboy Channel, they have a winter tour, summer tour.
Yeah.
And they're telecasting, hundreds and hundreds of rodeos daily and all year long now. So if you're a fan of rodeo, you become more familiar because you see the guys day in, day out, every day. And, you know, back when I rodeoed, rodeo was on TV, if you got lucky, 2 or 3 times a month, maybe.
Oh, okay.
And now it's a daily deal. And so
totally different.
You can become a household name when people see you every day.
Yeah. Yeah. And you don't have to win 8 gold buckles to do that. Maybe
Not
just
really.
one.
No, and it's a lot more about social media nowadays, you know.
Definitely.
You cannot get away from the fact that social media is deeply rooted in the sport of rodeo. Most every cowboy that I know is on either Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, or X now they call it. And so there's tons of ways for cowboys to be recognized, and also for the sponsor dollar nowadays. Sponsors want to be tied to a guy that has 100,000 followers on Facebook.
For sure.
You know, when I very first started rodeoing, I didn't have my first endorsement deal until I was a 2-time world champion, and that was with Cinch. And I mean, I'm still with Cinch today.
Oh, cool.
And the thing about it is, you know, the brands, they want that exposure. They want eyes on them every day, just like we do in the fuel business. You know, the more people see us, the more we have a chance to recruit customers into the fuel business.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, times are changing. That's crazy. But that's a good point to bring up. Here's our next one is, can you share a favorite memory from your competitive days?
I would probably say the first time I won the world, because it was, you know, me and Roy Moffitt and probably Stephen Perry and some other friends, Cody Stronadel, Sean Grimm, and a few of us. We knew that we had an outside chance to be the world champion in 1991, which has been a long time ago. But most people didn't think it was going to happen. A little bit of bad luck to the guy that was actually leading ahead of me. I think in the 9th round, he had some bad luck. But we had already been calling ourselves world champions. We just hadn't said it publicly. So deep down inside, we all felt like I was going to win the world that year, and then it happened. And so
manifestation, that's what they call it.
Exactly.
You knew it was going to happen.
We knew it was going to happen. It's just a matter of time for the 10th round to roll around. And so it happened. And so me and a couple of my buddies drove back from Vegas. This is kind of a wild story. Well, we stopped, and, you know, we're 23 years old. We bought a bunch of alcohol, and we're headed out. So they go inside. I go inside wherever we were, the store, liquor store, whatever. And I'm not really advocating from drinking. I'm just telling you a story from my past.
Yeah.
So the deal was, I went in there and I'm jacking around for a few minutes, and I come out and they've got white shoe polish all over my truck, trailer, everything. And on the side of it, they wrote the same thing on both sides: Freddie stole the show. So I had borrowed that trailer from a friend of mine, right?
Yeah.
And so it had kind of oxidized a little bit. So it had some cracks. It was maroon. It matched the Axle 454 Chevy that I was driving at the time. It had a maroon and white camper on it. I mean, they matched perfectly.
Wow,
well,
okay.
With the oxidation of that paint cracking, that shoe polish got inside those cracks. So when we got home after our big party, a couple of days later, we drove straight home from Vegas, and that shoe polish wouldn't come out of those cracks. So I had to repaint the entire trailer.
Oh, God. You're like, who did this? This is so annoying.
Yeah. Cost me about $1,500 to get it done, and that's been a long time ago.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
And all you can think now is Freddie stole the show.
Oh, I got pictures of it. It's unbelievable. Sometimes I'll bring them into the office and let you look at them.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It was wild. And with that being said, I mean, we were on cloud nine. Hell, we're 1,500 miles from home, and we could have drove 1,500 miles in like a few hours.
Yeah.
When it's a 24-hour drive, we were just on cloud nine, and every time we'd stop somewhere, there was people coming up to the rig, and we would laugh and ha-ha with them. We stayed up for 24 hours.
Yeah.
Drove straight through 3 of them.
Wow.
It's like it was no big deal.
But you were on a high, though.
Yeah.
How was that feeling?
Well, I mean, it's I relate sales and rodeo in kind of the same way because there's highs in both. And as long as you're winning, closing deals, I mean, you're on a high. But then a customer calls you and says, well, you know, your competitor's a little bit cheaper than you. And so my deal is I always try to explain how much skin do they have in the game? How many tanks do you have of theirs when they come in and, you know, their quote's 20 cents cheaper than mine? I say, well, I got 5 tanks over there. If we look at what those 5 tanks cost, they're coming in. They don't really have anything in the game. Of course, they're going to quote you 20 cents cheaper than what I can do it. But let's let them get 5 tanks over there and spend $100,000 on those 5 tanks, and then let's see if their quote's going to be the same as ours.
Mm-hmm. Roasted. Okay, I'll ask you one more thing about rodeo. How do you maintain your love for roping even after retirement? I guess you touched on this a little bit, but.
Well, the main thing is like, honestly, Landry, for a little while, I had to totally get away from it.
Oh,
like,
did you?
I didn't own a horse for a couple of years because I wanted the urge to be competitive to subside, to pretty much dissipate and go away because, like in 2013 when I didn't make the national finals, I went out there, but something inside of me was just not right. Like I was angry.
Yeah.
You know, I would sit up in the stands and I would see somebody run a calf and I was sitting there thinking, you know, I mean, as good as that calf was, hell, I could jump down there in the arena and tie that one in 7. You know, and so it was a little bit.
So you're bitter a little bit.
I was a little bit bitter. And so I had to totally get away from it, got rid of all my horses, and just forgot about it for 2 solid years. Did not own a horse. And honestly, I didn't go to very many events. And so I let the urge for me to be competitive go away. And I competed a little bit after that. Like I roped at Houston, I think in 2019 was the last time. And I said, you know, it's time. And for me, I wanted to be remembered as one of the best to ever do it.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't want to hang around to where I couldn't win. And, you know, people see you rope and go, oh my God, I remember him being just unbelievable. But now he's just another face in the crowd. And so that was my personal, the way I wanted to leave the sport, because I still have people, like I was out in Las Vegas this year. It's crazy.
People know you?
I haven't roped out there since 2012.
Yeah.
And people are walking by, good luck tonight. Good luck tonight.
You're like, I'm not roped.
Okay, thank you. But I haven't run one out here in a long, long time now.
You're like, thanks, but you don't know anything.
So it's crazy. And, you know, I've been accused of being Corey Solomon, not Shad, because Shad's, you know, quite a bit lighter than me. But, hey, Corey, what's going on? I said, he's 5'4", and I'm 6'2". There's a little bit of difference there, folks.
Yeah. Oh, like people think you're.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's funny that you were getting those comments in Vegas.
Good luck tonight.
Good luck tonight.
All
Thank
right.
you. I'm not roping, but okay. Well, it must have been hard too because you were used to winning so consistently for so long.
Yeah.
And kind of like taking a step back, and I bet you just like picked people apart. Like, I would have done this. I would have done this.
I don't want to be that guy, but I mean, I watch it today, you know, and I was actually watching Fort Worth last night, and I knew several guys that were up, and I mean, it always looks easy sitting on your couch.
Oh, for sure.
There's no, you know, backseat quarterbacks are a dime a dozen, and I mean, even in the business that you and I are in today, you know, we second guess ourselves about deals when things don't go our way. But for me, I mean, I practiced so much till I couldn't get it wrong. you know, and I haven't said this to a lot of people or on any podcast yet, but I mean, we would bring in 30, 40 head of calves fresh, and I would tie them down by myself with it being 110 degrees outside. Those are the things that allowed me to have the confidence that I had when I was rodeoing.
Yeah.
You know, and it's the same way in sales. I mean, if we sit here and work our asses off every single day, then there's not very many people that's going to beat us because we're prepared for everything that comes our way. And I see a lot of similarities in the business world and in rodeo. You know, there's not much difference to me now that I've been in the fuel business with the company now for, I think, almost 6 years, you know. And I mean, I grew up around Roy, you know, I knew Carl, but didn't know him like I know him now. And hell, I used to babysit Rusty and Roy Jr. and Ryan. So, I mean, I know them just like the veins that run through my hand. And I've watched the way their dad operated. And so once I started working for the company, and even prior, Roy and I would have conversations about, you know, he wanted to go out of town and stay away and stuff. And Roy always had somebody that could make decisions based on what they thought he would do. And so even when I rodeoed, I wanted somebody around me that was going to tell me the straight up. I didn't ever want it sugar coated. And I knew whenever I screwed up, I knew I would go out to the truck, never really had a problem throwing fits in the arena like you see some people do nowadays. I would go out and look in the mirror and I'd say, hey, dumbass, that's on you. And figure out a way to fix it versus brushing it aside like there's not an issue. If my horse wasn't working, I found a place to practice. Okay. Yeah. And I mean, it's just that simple. So the more you're prepared for, whether it's rodeo, whether it's business, whether it's basketball, whether it's golf, you can overcome any of the variables that are presented to you in the competition or in the workforce.
Absolutely. And that mentality going into a sales position has probably just did nothing but help you.
Well, I mean, I was a little bit scared at first because, I mean, all I knew was rodeo. And I mean, I wouldn't be being honest if I didn't say, but I knew there was a time to do something else. And in order for you to profit in life, you have to be willing to work. Yeah. There's no two ways around that. I mean, you know, I knew that what I'd done in the rodeo arena would cross over to something else. Did I know exactly what? No. I mean, I would not be being honest if I sat here and told you any different. But I said, if I give 200% like I did rodeoing, if I do that at anything,
you'll succeed.
You're going to have some kind of success. There's just no two ways around it. And I mean, when I first started and then we went through the pandemic, I was doing really good in sales out in West Texas. And when that happened, and then it all went back, and you know, a little bit of Fred Whitfield's fault here. I didn't have my customer base built up big enough in Houston because I had too much success out west where everybody's cowboy oriented, and I could go into a meeting with a ball cap and a T-shirt on and walk in there and talk to guys at XTO or guys at High Crush. I mean, just whatever the company was, Salisbury, I mean, you name them. And I'd get my foot in the door, and then I'd go out, you know, the nightlife with them, and next thing you know, we're selling them diesel. So, I mean,
isn't that the beauty though about the fuel industry, is that a lot of people are laid back and more casual. It's all about like your relationship.
It most definitely is about relationships, and you know, for the can't even spit it out from the rodeo world, a lot of that crossed over. A lot of it benefited me because Trevor Brazil called me here a while back, and I was actually riding a young horse out in the arena, and he says, hey, I need a fuel tank. And I said, just send me all the information. The next morning, I mean, we were doing business, and I mean, he's 25-time world champion. He's outside the business world now, and he owns, you know, some companies that do it. And I've got several, not just Trevor, but I mean, he's probably the top tier name, but I've got several cowboys that call me, you know, not on a daily, but you know, 2 or 3 times a week. Hey, looking for diesel. I quoted a friend of mine from Huntsville just a few days ago. Yeah. And so, you know, being from that industry, then coming to this industry, it's allowed me a lot of leadway with a lot of different people.
And just helps you be more successful around.
Well, it really does. And I mean, like honestly, I probably shouldn't say this out loud, but I mean, I rely a lot on my phone ringing, you know, versus the cold calling. And because am I 100% good at it? No, I'm not. But I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses. And the deal is you've got to work twice as hard on your strengths if you've got weaknesses. And that's just the way it works.
Yeah. I love it. What challenges do you face I'm kind of switching over to sales questions now in the fuel and lubricant industry, or if any at all? What would you say is your biggest challenge?
Now that you mention that, I mean, you know, one of them, and I hate computers.
Yeah.
I absolutely do. And I mean, it's a little bit of a detriment to me. As far as
you're a pen and a legal pad kind of guy.
Yes. I mean, that's what I grew up on. And, you know, when the information superhighway was very first being introduced, I was like, shit, I'm going to be a world champion. I don't need that.
Yeah.
Huh?
No.
And then you come back to the time when old Fred, here he is, north of 55. And, I mean, I sit down on it. And honestly, Landry, you know, I never had eye problems, but since I started jacking with that computer every day and looking at that little screen, now I got readers on, you know, and I sit down there and it takes me just a little while, but I can get it done. I absolutely love selling. I mean, there's no two ways about it. Would I be doing anything else? Who knows? I mean, I got drawn to this business because I've been around Roy my entire life. And, you know, after I figured I need to get a job, I was riding outside horses and doing a little bit of this and that. And he's like, hey, come to work for the company. Let's see how it goes. Put me in a truck delivering diesel. Hey, you know, you're never going to get rich doing that. Let's try sales. And popped off into sales. And I mean, here we are several years later. Like I said, you know, you've got to work in anything. I mean, I love the challenge of, you know, going and meeting new people. And, you know, sometimes somebody isn't very receptive to the sales part of it because they get people coming by every day trying to sell them something in this business. And so there has to be something that sets your company apart from the rest of them. And with the company that we work for, our service is unmatched in this industry. Everybody knows it. And all we've got to do is get in front of you and deliver diesel just a few times. I mean, our word is what we stand on at Moffitt Services.
It's true.
And by God, if we promise you we're going to deliver you diesel, it's going to be done. It may not be done by me. It may not be done by you.
Nope.
But somebody at the company is going to get you taken care of. And
absolutely.
That's the thing that I love about, you know, our entire crew. Everybody tries to work as hard as they can there. And so we've actually risen to 190 employees now?
Yeah, crazy. 61 new hires last year in 2023.
61 new hires. It's been a little bit different for me because, I mean, I don't know everybody there like I did 6 years ago.
I mean, we started with what? 3 people.
Yeah,
and now look at us.
It was not very many. And I mean, we're grown. We're outsourcing stuff just, you know, out of state a lot, but most of our assets are at every job that we have. We go to Florida, we're in Montana, we're Oklahoma, Kansas, Corpus Christi, Texas, George West, Dallas now. You know, we're excited. Yeah, we're in Louisiana. We're excited about 2024. You know, there's lots of we've got lots of customers, but we want a lot more, and that's just part of the business. You know, the more you grow, the more you want. And you know, we didn't have a storm last year, but we're getting geared up for hurricanes this summer, and so got a lot of new acquisitions coming from that part of it. And we're just excited at Moffitt. You know, we had a great year last year, and hopefully 24 is better than what 23 was.
And what excites you the most about this industry and your job here at Moffitt? Well,
I mean, there's a couple different things, but the fact that I just get to go out and still meet new people, you know, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
You meet new people, and just try to work as hard as you can and build a customer base, because it's the way it's structured. The more you work, the more money you make.
That's how it works, right?
That's what it is. And I mean, hustle every day, work as hard as you can, and let the chips fall where they may.
I love it. I think that's a great saying to end this podcast too. I love your quotes and phrases, and thank you. I've learned a lot. Every time I sit down and talk with you, I learn something new about you. So I appreciate you giving me your time today and joining back here on the podcast. Do you have any last final words that you want to say going into 2024 about your year here?
We just decided today that stay tuned because Fred's going to start doing the interviewing, and I got some pretty good people coming up that I'm going to try to bring in and sit down and talk to, and I think you guys will be real excited. I didn't cut my teeth in being on TV or doing podcasts and stuff like that, and so we're going to try to have some fun with it, and we would like a lot of people to get some eyes, more eyes focused on what we're doing here at Moffitt Services, and we want to be nationally known. And if you've got anything fuel that you need or lubricants, don't hesitate to look me up. I'm not hard to find. That's a Deion Sanders saying. I'm not stealing it from him. I'm just saying. You can go to any of the social platforms, look at the Moffitt website. We're there, and we aim to please. Give us a shout if you need anything fuel lubricant wise. Oh, and by the way, RMI now is incorporated into services, so we're pretty much turnkey. We got roll-off bins, dumpsters, fencing, porta potties, the whole 9 yards. Absolutely. Look us up. We're a one-stop shop, and we aim to please.
You heard it here, Fred. That was a great way to end, and thanks again for coming on the show. And stay tuned because we have some exciting things coming in our future episodes. You might be seeing Fred a lot more than me. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Fuel Disclosure, a Moffitt Services podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please be sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss a moment from Moffitt. And if you're ready to take your business to the next level with a team that delivers industry-leading service and no downtime, visit us at moffittservices.com.